when the first crisis comes, you feel alone and helpless. That's the first time you want to give up and just go back home.
We don't really know who we are, and we don't really know what to do with ourselves. And now we're just floating, and we don't know where we're supposed to be going.
I really stayed like alone for the first time in my life. There was literally nobody there. I was in such a low mental state that I didn't even know what I was choosing. And I got so used to that pain that was my norm.
We falsely think very often that whatever we feel is good for us, if we always stay in the comfort, we're never gonna learn through discomfort.
I would never learn who I really am.
Hi everyone, welcome back.
Hi everyone.
We are going to talk about moving abroad and the personal challenges that comes with the whole package of moving. What is your experience? What was your first motivation to move abroad, Nikki?
Well, I've been thinking about moving abroad, or at least trying to live somewhere else for a few months for a very long time, I think, since my teenage years, because I was really curious how it might be to live at another place, to see other cultures. So I was always looking for possibilities, actually. And I remember the first time I tried to go and be an au pair in Finland, because it was trending for some time. And I thought I'm going to try, but at the end, nothing came out of it. So then, after many years, actually, the idea came again, because it started to get really difficult in Hungary to find a part-time job. And I started my own business, and I wanted a part-time job to support myself until the business gets successful enough financially that I can live from it comfortably. But I couldn't. And it was really, really difficult. And I felt a little bit hopeless at the time. So I started to think about it again, that maybe now the possibility comes that I will try to see how it is abroad. But I wanted to go first for like half a year or a year. So I didn't even think about moving completely. And that was some years ago already. And I remember that I started to talk to a friend of mine about it, because she was in the same situation. And I was asking her if she would like to try. And first we were thinking of a different country completely, Austria, because it's the neighboring country. And it would have been closer and more convenient. But then eventually we decided about Belgium, which is funny because it wasn't even Belgium where we started to work, but in the Netherlands, because it was easier to get a job there. As a first, or so we thought. So I remember packing my suitcase and my computer, because without my PC, of course, I'm not going anywhere. And then I put everything in my car. I told my parents, my family, actually, what my plans were. And I think they thought that it's going to be a short-term thing, because I also was thinking the same. And then I just packed my stuff and we went with my friend. And it was such an adventure, the beginning. And for you, when did the first thought come to try yourself abroad?
Well, actually, I kept hearing this from my mom, most of my teenage years, I think, early teenage years, that things are not going well in Hungary, and me and my brother should go, somewhere abroad to find better job or opportunities. And I don't think that she realized that this is going to actually happen, that I'm going to take on her word. And when I was 22 or 3, 12 years ago, Do the math, please. 12 years ago, yeah, my then boyfriend and his friend, they came up with the idea of moving to England through an agency and maybe start in a warehouse or something like that, whatever job they can then give them. And I got excited because, here is the opportunity. But even before that, 3 years before that, I almost moved to Greece to work as a hostess in a hotel, like a live-in hostess. I was very excited about it, but then I met my then boyfriend and I kind of let go of that sunny idea. And I exchanged it to 3 more years in Hungary and then to the clouds in England. So yeah, we did pack and came here. We also said the usual sentence to everyone in the family, that this is just for maybe 3 years and then we will see how things go. I somewhere deep down knew it's gonna be more because I've tried to find a job back in Hungary. I tried to, even through connections, get something and it didn't work. So I didn't see what future I have there. I really craved freedom. I really craved independence and finally managing things on my own. So yeah, I joined them and had to start to find a new job. It was challenging because by then I kind of forgot my high school English skills. So I had to relearn, and my goal was to find a job in my own profession, which I can't really sell myself if I don't know the language itself. So I was trying to find whatever I could, cleaning or kitchen porter, any kind of jobs. So yeah, that's how this happened. And I'm still here.
Well, I'm still here too. So apparently it worked out at the end. What did you feel during the first months or the first year about the transitioning and everything new in a new country?
Yeah, honestly, I was very, very excited about it because this was something that I felt like I needed. And it was an opportunity after so many rejections, and not even rejections back in Hungary, but like nothing happening. Like there was no responses or nothing. And I kept hearing from people that they just find jobs here. And I did find job. So I came here and I just had to go out and look for it. And they gave it to me. So as long as, I had the attitude, they did reject me from certain places, as it's natural. You're not going to get the first place wherever you walk in. But yeah, I kind of felt like this is something that I wanted to do. I finally felt free in a way that all that uncertainty has been released, which is strange because still I didn't have my profession job. Well, everything was like I had to start from scratch. I didn't speak the language properly, but still it gave me hope. Something was happening, something different was happening than whatever was there back in Hungary. So yeah, I also didn't really feel homesick at all. I would hear this from people that they feel homesick and they want to go home. They can't wait. I did visit home, I think 2 times a year, if I recall. So I think that was plenty time going back. That was the only thing that I used my holidays for, I think, which thinking back is like, yeah, okay. But yeah, I think I was just happy to be here. I also back then still was very hopeful towards my relationship. And I thought that this is like a new beginning for us, finally now we can be properly adults together. And so, yeah, I was just full of excitement. What about you?
For me, we came to a friend of mine, so we had actually a lot of help in the beginning of where to try to find work and what kind of documentations we need, where do we have to go to get them. And he was also showing us all around the country, which was really amazing. Like, I think my first year I was traveling so much. I'd seen so many new things that time just flew away, and it felt so amazing, and as we said, exciting too, because we got a job pretty quickly in the Netherlands, which was anything but ideal, but it gave us money directly, and we could start living our life, and of course we were really enjoying it. We literally just wanted to travel and see as many things as possible, all in our free time. And yeah, I also didn't feel homesick because I didn't even have time. There was so much new information, new things to digest. And when you are in a new environment, everything is exciting. Everything is so new, and you're just looking around and wow, this is so different, and everything even feels better because it's not because it really is. But you've been in your country for whole your life. Okay, you are traveling for holidays, but it's not the same when you're actually moving yourself to another place and you have all the time to discover and see everything. And then you're like, wow, like a child, basically.
Yeah.
So you know how it is. And so many new things happened to me, so many exciting things, adventures, that I was just really digesting that, and I felt great during the first time, for a long period of time actually, and only after some time, when I started to feel like that the job what I got in the Netherlands was really like seriously heavy and not something for me at all. The people also who I was surrounded with there, they were not my type of people. I was really starting to feel bad about it, and I wanted to find a job in Belgium because I was living there anyways. So started to look there, and actually it was easier than I thought to have a job here, because here you have agencies and all you have to do is vote with your CV to one of the agencies or even more. And you can either say what you would like, or you just send your CV to them and they will call you whenever they find something for you. Probably it's not going to be ideal if you haven't really aimed for what you want, and I wasn't.
Yeah.
So you start off doing something physical anyways, and that's what I had. But in Belgium it's different in a way that if they see that you have potential, they will help you fast to grow to a position where you can actually use it. So I felt quite all right with that, and I felt like that here is this country and is giving me all the opportunities which my country didn't.
Yeah, I know. That's how I felt as well, which is interesting because there are also agencies here, but my experience wasn't so great with them. Like I had to find a job organically, and because I did go to different agencies and they just never gave me anything. Like a friend of my then boyfriend, he got a job, something really horrible job, and then another one as well. Like it seemed like men, they could easily get jobs, and I just didn't like. They never really called me, so I was like, okay, I have to go. And we also didn't eventually come through an agency, but my ex's friend through. So we started in Reading first. So it was a really huge help. And then I started to look for a job there. But my ex got a job here in London, so we moved here and had to roam the roads of London. And it was really nice because I could could explore. I would see the nice architecture for the first time on my own. And yeah, I think it was the second place where I went in because I kind of felt I'm vibing with this place. And they were super helpful. They luckily had an event the very next day that it was just very handy that I walked in and then I offered my help, you know? So yeah, and interestingly, is like you have to go through places and works to be able to eventually appreciate truly, because I did too have that newborn's eyesight, you know, like everything is magical, everything is good. Work was also in the beginning, but then it wears off. So with work, I think it did wear off much quicker than with everything else, because, you know, that kind of eyesight is you see everything in such a magical way that in a few years' time, you may start to complain about those things. So it's so interesting how you can enjoy and appreciate things while it's still new. So I can really, really relate to that. And I think a lot of people, that's why I hear that from friends when they go to a new country and they say, oh, I'm going to move there because it's so amazing. And I'm like, well, you know, they also say that about Hungary and Budapest. And I'm like, yeah, go. Feel free to move there and then see how you feel, you know, living there, because it's different. It's definitely different living somewhere. And I honestly actually got to a point eventually where I really didn't enjoy being here. But I also didn't consider going back home because this place still gave me a place to work, which was very uncertain back in Hungary. Plus I had my own independent place, even if it was through renting. Like it just didn't feel like I would like to give that up. But then you start to wonder why is it that some people, they move abroad and they just hate it there? What do you think it is? Why does it happen?
What you just described, at first everything is new, and after that it wears off, you start to see the real side. I think that's what it happens with a lot of people, that they realize that it's not going to be easy in here either, and this country has its fault, and you also have to make your way, and nothing will be given to you easily. And when the first crisis comes, I think that's actually when it happened to me, that you feel alone and helpless. That's the first time you want to give up and just go back home to your family and to your friends and your support system, what you know. And many people do. That's the first time many people do at that point. If you are not strong enough mentally to jump through the bump, then you're going to go back because you think that this was just an illusion, and actually it's not better, it's worse, because you don't have your people around you here, and everything starts to look so hostile, and you look around, you don't find yourself until you learn the language. You don't find yourself.
Yeah.
And you feel like an outsider, and many times you're also treated as an outsider because you are. So if you cannot get through these points or parts, then it is a high chance you will go back home.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of people who actually already come here in a way that they don't like it. Like they just come here because they have to. And they already have some kind of resentment in the whole like air. And they're also probably not really used to fighting hard, you know, to get what they need. And to be fair, it's not really like that hard. I mean, I don't know, because I can't compare it with Hungary because I just simply didn't get any job there to be able to compare the two. So for me, the fact that I went out, you know, searching for a job, and it didn't take much to be fair, it was like 1 or 2 days, both times, because I almost got one back in Reading as well. So if someone, I think, wants to, the people also feel that. But there are other challenges as well. For example, the bureaucratic paperwork, getting a bank account, an address, any kind of like official things that you have to sort out, and then all the logistics are just so tricky, and people get tired of that, because I don't think you have to really do those things back in Hungary. I don't know, what was your experience? Because I never really worked there, just as a student, a few months.
Well, my experience is that they are only registering you with minimal wage. Of course, I'm not saying every company, but if you want to work for smaller companies or family companies, and not the bigger ones, then you are going to get minimal wage, and most of your money or half of your wage you will get black. So they will give it in your hands, but that's not benefiting you in any way on the long run, actually. That's that. And also the expectations are super high for every job. So they are expecting everybody to have at least 5-6 years experience, but they want young people, but they want you to be able to do not just one but more tasks at the same time. And they are looking for people who can do that. And that's why it's also difficult to get a job there. And so many people are applying for the same position. And many times it's not your experience what is going to get you there, but if they like you or not, whoever is doing the job interview with you, if you can convince them about your skills or not. So you need to have the charisma, you need to be liked. You need to make a good first impression. And after a while, it's getting difficult when you are just getting rejected the 100th times already, if at all they are calling you, because you send out so many CVs. Then from the 100 CVs, maybe you get 1 or 2 calls, and then it's not guaranteed you will get any job. And after some time, months, or even people are trying for years, you just burn out. It's exhausting, it's demotivating.
Yeah.
And I had a job in Hungary, but the overall experience was not so great.
Yeah.
So when I came here, the difference was that, first of all, they didn't really need you to have a huge experience. They just wanted you to start working, and you could show there how much experience you have, or you could show there your skills. And the managers there, your bosses, actually evaluated you pretty quickly what you can do, because they were appreciating people who are smart and who can navigate through difficult tasks. So they were always trying to help you to get into a higher position. And that's what happened to me too. That's what happened to me too. That I started out already with a special project, and I had to make boxes and so on. But I think I had to do it like for a month. And after that, I could see all the departments. It was constantly changing for me, because they wanted me to see everything. So I was working different departments at the same company, which kept it exciting. For a long while. And at the end, I landed in my final position, and I could have grown from there too if I wanted to. So I appreciated this, and I found it really different from what I've seen in Hungary. And I'm not saying it's always the case in Hungary, because I can only share my experience, but I hear this same thing from so many other people.
Yeah, same. I would hear this from family members and friends, and how difficult it is, or if they even find a job, then the environment is so toxic, and the requirements that they demand. What I recall is that I sent applications plenty to a lot of jobs that wouldn't require really like education or experience, and they would still not, call me back. And honestly, to be fair, even here, I think I got job quickly. Like, it does still matter if you interact with people face to face, depending on the job. But I never really tried face to face back in Hungary, that because I felt like then why are they, advertising it digitally? Why do I have to send a CV? And it also happened here that they would tell me to send a CV, So, but it depends. And but compared to never ever ever getting anything back there, and that here, okay, I kind of made up some of my past experience because I adjusted it so it will work, and but then I have a sensation that specific manager would have taken me on anyway to try, because even if for cleaning or for anything, it's handy, and he would give chances to people. So that they do that here, that it's like you go there, they see your attitude, your vibration and everything. And I also experienced that in places, if you do work, you have the can-do attitude, you want to learn, you're eager, then they're going to give you the opportunity here. And that's how I start, like from a kitchen porter, I was offered to do waitressing as well as becoming a chef. And then I was like, okay, then let's have a look at this chef thingy. And then it was interesting for a while, but then that's also like another demanding thing that the baby eyesight, the newborn eyesight started to wear off eventually. But it was an experience, and I couldn't really truly appreciate it until a few years or many years later, when you have so many more comparisons. But overall, still, like here, they gave you chance. I don't know what's going on now, because I'm not like, I hear horror stories, to be fair, about the market and job search. So I think it has changed since then, but it's 12 years. So when I moved here, it was a very open opportunity on the market anywhere, literally, if you just needed to want to be there. But then all these challenges become very, very difficult for a lot of people who are used to having a support system back in Hungary, like an emotional support system, having friends. And I didn't really have that. So I was like quite used to, and I was fine with being here with my boyfriend at that time. But I can imagine how difficult it must be for people who are used to being attached to their family, to their mom, dad, siblings, or best friend, or anything like that. And that's an extra, like, drawing emotionally, that when things get hard and they are not here in the same house, they can't just visit them. It must be really, really challenging. Did you have an experience with that?
Of course. I'm very close with my family, and we can always count on each other. So, of course, as at some times when I felt lonely, when I felt helpless, it was like 10 times as bad as it would have been if I stayed at home, because then I can just visit my mom, visit my dad, visit my siblings, hang out with my friends. We can talk through the challenges, but it's never going to be the same if you call them, or if you can actually go there and you can hug them, you can sit in their presence. And I remember times when I was really, really sad and desperate of how I felt about that need not being met. Because even though I came abroad with a friend, that friendship fortunately ended after a few months due to both of us handling it, I think, bad way. It could have been saved, but it happened, so now it's in the past. And without that friendship, I started to feel a bit lost, because even though I had a friend here who later became my boyfriend at the time, it's still not the same. if you can understand what I mean. So I still felt lost. I still felt alone. I still felt lonely because everybody had their circles already who they got used to, their friend groups. I didn't have that. Um, I started to realize at my job that I was really trying to be friends and fair with everybody, but people were just stepping on each other like everywhere else. So I needed to learn the hard way of hierarchy and how many things people do for a position, and how people would step on you just to show that they are better or just to get something. And it was a painful experience for me too, which I internalized a lot because really didn't know how to discuss it.
Yeah.
And that also made it pretty hard. So yeah, I got a job opportunity quickly and easily. I earned nice money, but I had all those challenges nevertheless, which everybody is going through. But yeah, abroad you are on your own. Even if you have people around you, you're not going to feel that it is the same. And another thing is that at home I already had my apartment where in the last year I lived alone. So I experienced how it is to live alone, to have your own space. And when I moved, I constantly had to share space with people. And sometimes it happened that even more than one person, because when we were looking for apartments, we had to live with friends, and there were many people, not just friends, but friends of friends. And I realized after a very short period of time that I'm suffering with that setup. This is not something for me. I need my own space. I was really feeling depressed with sharing space with so many people, and it was also difficult to communicate that with the people around me because they didn't feel that way. So I felt again alone and lost. Um, Especially after I left the job in the Netherlands, and I started to look for another one here because there was a gap, like a few weeks when I was just looking, and it was also like a first experience for me, and it was scary, and I didn't know what's gonna be with me, how I'm gonna find something else, what is going to happen. I don't have a place to be. I don't have a place to sit on my own. I don't want to go outside because it's scary. So it started to close up on me, everything at the same time, which felt so magical in the beginning.
Yeah.
So that was my experience in the first year or so.
Oh, that's so interesting how we lose connections and how we are essentially building our own security based on our family and other people and not within ourselves. This was one thing that I've learned over the years, that I thought that it's things like my mood is always dependent because of other things like external happenings or people, or how my boyfriend behaves or how people behave. But then it's the perception and how we view the world from within ourselves. And I was not aware of this for many years. And I actually didn't really have a wider group or like, I think I had one or two friends back in Hungary. And I was totally fine with keeping in touch with them over like Facebook. And actually, I was really bad at communicating with them. Like I would need to remind myself to have to reach out to this person because they have reached out like X amount of times and I keep forgetting messaging them. So I was literally somewhere so used to not having friends that I didn't realize. And I was in a very avoidant world of mine and somewhere quietly suffocating there and not even noticing it. So that's when I was like really in my avoidance blooming, I think. And My boyfriend, I think he wanted to sometimes go out playing board games and things like that, but then we barely managed to find people who we really vibed with. So we kind of eventually always gave up, and we were just playing online games at home, and we never really moved out. Plus, on top of this, the first 3 years of my work history was heavy physical work in the kitchen with unknown rota in the future. So I could not really plan. And even in my free time, I was so physically and mentally exhausted that I just wasn't looking forward to socialize. So literally first 3-4 years of my life here just went like that. I didn't even realize it was just gone. And I think the fourth year was about, like, I was working in retail, but even that is physical job, standing all day, having to interact with people. And I very quickly left that one. But yeah, and I also was in the same time in a not so healthy codependent relationship for the 6th and 7th year at that time, which was probably draining all of my energy, not being able to open up to myself and the world. So looking at how people can close up their own mentality and feelings and everything can be so different, but still it happens over time because you are really not finding your place. I'm not really sure what would have happened if I stayed at home and if he also stayed at home. But it does matter what kind of relationships we are in, how we perceive life and ourselves and other people, and what kind of in the work we are doing, if we are doing anything. So that's how I think this first magical filter starts to fall apart, because we don't really know who we are, and we don't really know what to do with ourselves. And then eventually it starts to come out, and then we lose connections that were kind of putting us into that picture that we thought we are that person, if that makes sense. And now we're just floating, and we don't know where we're supposed to be going. And yeah, it's very interesting experience. So yeah, I was not missing really people. My grandparents I did miss because I always miss them, but I would try and visit them as much as possible and call them. So yeah, that's very, very challenging. And a lot of people kind of give up. And I remember how even the thoughts, I felt so ugly. I don't know if you had any kind of ideas like that, or projections of your own feelings that you're not in the right place in certain time of your life, that this is how it would come out. I mean, I keep hearing that from social media posts that people, feel the way they look, the way they feel. And that was for years. And now I understand why, because I did not find myself. I didn't know who I was. And I still forced myself kind of staying in an unhealthy relationship that wasn't nurturing me. But then I guess I also had to go through that as well.
Yeah. I totally understand everything what you're saying about this. Yeah, completely. This experience changed me so much because I was also in a relationship for some time in here, and after that ended, because most of the time period when it was going on, we've been both working, and we've been working shifts, and that is really, really exhausting, and you burn out and you don't even notice because you don't know what kind of signs to look for, and you don't understand that's what is happening to you. you just realize that you don't have motivation for anything. You just want to go home, you want to sleep, and after that you don't have energy for anything else. So I also didn't have a social life at all, except my ex-boyfriend at that time, because we were just working,
Yeah.
or if not working, then going on a long holiday. But in the meantime, my life was about nothing else, just going to work and coming from work, driving in the traffic, staying for hours in the traffic, being too exhausted for anything. And then if I look back at those pictures, I'm horrified of how I looked like, but I didn't understand that then, because it was just part of life, a part of a transition, I think. Because after that relationship ended, I really stayed like alone for the first time in my life. There was literally nobody there. And I made a lot of bad decisions, because all I knew from the past is how to get into a new relationship. And I didn't know how to make new friends from scratch. So my loneliness, I started to look for a relationship, and I made really bad decisions, like the worst decisions. I had to learn in my 30s about certain men or certain type of men, which women meet at their teenage years or their 20s. And I had to realize how lucky I was at that period of time with the man I met, because oh my God, no, I was in such a low mental state that I didn't even know what I was choosing. And I had to go through a lot of heartbreak. Especially was difficult because at home also things happened. Our family dog died. Not long after that, my amazing grandma passed away. I was feeling burnt out at the work. Everything was happening at the same time. And all I felt was pain for, I think, almost 1.5 or 2 years. And I got so used to that pain that was my norm.
Yeah.
Even though somewhere under all that, I felt the hope that it's going to get better. And I think that's what kept me going and going. And I was just experiencing. I never gave up on people. I never closed myself from people. I always gave chances to meet people and to create new connections, which some of them, well, ended pretty bad, but some of them really great, because I also had so beautiful friendships here formed, that we were supporting each other, all of us. Foreigners in a different country, and we kind of spoke each other's language, because all of us knew what the other person is going through. Some of us were successfully, how to say it, processing all those feelings, and we decided to stay. And some people left to their home countries. But right now, I think since 3 years, I can say, I'm really feeling that it was a great decision to move here, and everything what happened to me formed me so much and formed my character so much, and gave me the opportunity to really find myself, who I am, what I want, who I am without other people, who I am without my family, what I want, what I like, what I don't like, everything. So I'm very grateful, no matter how much pain I had, because I had so many beautiful things too, which measures up to that. And it's all part of life, I think.
Yeah. I love that you said that it's all part of life, because yes, I think majority of people, this is what we don't realize, because this is not what we grow up in hearing, that pain and hard work in a way that is not like slavery or really, really, really difficult hard work, but these are the things that will make you appreciate what you have gone through, what you have. And the ultimate happiness, as Hollywood describes it, and most people and the society, is not healthy. It doesn't exist. It just spoils people. It doesn't help you to appreciate what you have. It's like most wealthy people are the unhappiest people on the planet because they just can't. They don't know what to do with it because they haven't found their happiness within themselves. But then you move to another country and hopefully you go through things in life that will challenge your perspectives that you grew up in with, and it will show you new perspectives and ideas, and will show you as well your own skills that you never knew you had, and it will build your whole new self that is going to eventually build your home, which is not connected properly really to the country itself, but wherever you are.
Yeah, and it really makes you proud, because I am proud of where I am now and what I achieved with the hard work I had, with how I showed here to people what I'm capable of, what I can do. And I got the opportunities, but I was working hard for it, and nobody was helping me in a way that I didn't know anyone, so they didn't have to favor me. I didn't have any connections, so I built it up for myself.
Yeah.
And that's something what's also changing your character, because you understand what you are capable of.
Yeah.
This is an important part. That's why I say that I would recommend actually everybody to live abroad, if not forever, at least a year or two, just to experience, just to understand, how it is, because you can know and learn so much about your own character, which will benefit you later on in life.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and I'm also really grateful. I never gave up, even though I was going through a lot of hardship, but I never gave up. And thanks to that, I have so many nice memories. And about happiness, what you mentioned, I also think about happiness as something what is momentarily, like it's not staying with you, it's coming and it's going. What you can be is being content and satisfied with where you are, but this eternal happiness, no, it doesn't exist. The last time I can recall that I felt this insane happiness, where you're walking about the clouds, that you're so happy, it was a few months ago when I came back from my holiday in Italy, because there were so many beautiful experiences there with people I loved so deeply, that after I came back, I first had to process, and I was a bit sad, but just for a day or two. And after that, for 2 weeks, I was so happy. And this way you also learn about yourself, what makes you happy, what's important, right? Because if you do those things and then you are rewarded with happiness, you know that you did something for yourself, what you love to do.
Yes, that's such an important thought there, because that's what I think a lot of people, if they stay put, they don't realize. For example, the way why I was playing a lot of online games, I had hobbies and everything, but I used most of those things to actually numb myself, like a typical avoidant escape from my own reality. Because if you look at it, playing games throughout your whole weekend and every single evening and watching series that happens, like, it's not your real life. You never go out, you never see. And then since then I have got to learn that I have different needs that makes you happy. Sometimes I don't really like travel yet. I'm planning to. I really hope to, because I love to see different places. But here in England, I try and go on day trips, or even sometimes I just go to a park. I just go for a walk because I really love the architecture here in London. And that makes me happy. Like that, people need to find what is it that recharges them. And for some people, maybe it's social interaction, going meeting with their friends and chatting, and that's what's charging them. It does charge me with the right people. Sometimes it's just a quiet walk in the local park or anything that you need to repeatedly do, because happiness doesn't come to us. We have to go and make it for ourselves, and it's not that kind of happiness that people think, like when you go out on a date and you get excited, that's full of dopamine. Or when you get a gift, or when you go suddenly on a traveling trip. That may be a long-term recharge, but for some people it's distraction, actually, which is not exactly the same. But then
I wanted to ask you if you had to learn how to make friends, and if you knew before, or if you had to learn it abroad, to build a completely new network for yourself from scratch.
That's great that you are asking, because I was hoping to get to this point, and yes, I had to, along with everything else. I think that was one of the biggest part, and it's very recent actually for me. Eventually, once I no longer had those very demanding jobs, even there I kind of started to eye with people that I seemed to like, but then they already had, what you also mentioned, their own friends circle. And then people, once their meet has been met through other friends, they don't feel the need to chase you, in a way. And then I was kind of chasing them, but then I eventually gave up. And I also had the social anxiety that I would identify only years later what it is, and also know that probably everyone has social anxiety, like most people. And that would prevent me from going out and meet new people. I did not like to interact with complete strangers at all. So that would make me completely withdraw myself and not even want to try. If any small experience that like maybe one person from the entire group was rude or not interacting with us with the same kind of excitement like me and my back then boyfriend did, then it's like, no, I don't want to do that. So it took me many years actually to go to the point where consciously I was like, okay, what is it in my technique that I need to unlearn or learn new ways of like getting to know people, how to communicate, how to engage, how much to give, how much not to give, and like a lot of intricate things in this dynamic that I never knew before, because I just simply didn't really have friends. It happened, in school, it just happens. You are surrounded by people. And even then in high school, I didn't really have friends, to be fair. And after that, one person that I kind of lost on the go. And yeah, it's very, very challenging and difficult. And people also don't know how to keep friendships. That's why also relationships and friendships fail abroad, because people don't know how to nurture these connections anymore.
Yeah.
So they kind of have this love bombing phase sometimes in the beginning. And then once it wears off, then they just leave, or they already have their friendships and they're not going to even try. What's your experience?
Yeah. I felt you when you said that you were really like not feeling comfortable with just going by yourself and meeting complete strangers. And I remembered my exact first moment when I did that. Something changed in me. I think I was already trying to be together, so to say, with my very last ex, and it never worked out, of course, and we separated for the first time after some months, and it was really heartbreaking for me. So I said, okay, fuck this and fuck everything. I will go and I will challenge myself, and I will make friends. I will make new acquaintances. I will see how other people are. So I started to look for groups in
Mm.
Antwerpen for different activities. And Facebook was a really good platform to start with that, because there I could find a lot, and they even have different type of chats on a different platform where you can join up and you can see all the activities people are doing. And I went first on a board gaming one, and I'm still doing that till today, with some pauses, of course, but in general, I'm still doing it. And I was going and I wanted to turn back like 1,000 times, like, oh, this is not a good idea. I'm not doing this. There are a lot of strangers. How I'm going to connect with them. Oh my God, what I'm going to say. I had no idea. I never had to do this, because when you do it in your home country, people are just coming and you don't
Mhm.
even realize. You don't go out with the intention to get to know new people. It just
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
So it always just happened with me too, except this time. And then I went there and I had a really great time, because
Mm.
I realized I can engage with people, I can talk with people,
Mhm.
and the experience, the activity, what we were doing was nice. So I started to go there. And if you go there enough times, you meet the same people. Most of the times you already kind of know them,
Mhm.
and they start to invite you for different activities if they like you. And that's how you build new connections. And then you go to the other type of activity, you meet their people too, they will also invite you for other things, and you
Yeah.
build up your network again. And I learned how to do this, because I had never any idea, and I'm a pretty introverted person, so it's really difficult for me to pump myself up to go out there and to meet people and to talk to people, because
Mhm.
I like to be at home. I like to stay at home, but everybody needs human interaction,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everybody needs experience with other people. Even though if most of the time you are okay spending time by yourself, but we all need it. So
Yeah.
I learned how to do it. So I know whenever it happens again that I find myself in a situation where I don't know anyone, I would know how to build it up again.
Mhm.
So it's a skill also you learn.
Yeah. I think this is how codependent relationships can be erased from your life, is that you realize that you are capable of a lot of things that you did not think before, and because of that you were hanging on like for dear life to certain people in your life, let that be a friendship or a connection to your mom or dad or your boyfriend or anything. And because somewhere deep down we don't believe for years that we are capable of a lot of things, and then there is this person, they do it, or they kind of give you the emotional support while you are doing it, and when you're on your own you don't believe that you can do it, even though like we're also capable people. You just need to believe in it and that you do it. So yeah, that's a very interesting thing. Also, I think I was just thinking about this the other day, is how we are so used to, like you mentioned, that you like to stay at home, but then you still force yourself to go to socialize. And how we falsely think very often that whatever we feel is good for us, for example, staying at home, is often our doom, because we learn through challenges. If we always stay in the comfort, we're never gonna learn through discomfort. Like if nothing ever changes around me here, I can expect big things and happiness and anything. It's not gonna come to us. We're not gonna see that, oh, I implanted this skill today that I was uncertain about, and see, I managed to like excel in it, and it's so awesome feeling, and it floods my body with happiness. And yeah, if we don't force ourselves ever, we just get stuck. So that's very important. I used to didn't
To
like
go.
people telling me that you have to force yourself, but I agree with that a lot.
But that's what you also learn.
Yeah.
Well, abroad, when you have no other option, that yes, you have to challenge yourself. You have to, because even though if you say yourself things deep down, you feel what good for you, what you crave. Because you can say that, no, I want to stay home, but deep down you feel that you need to socialize. So it's just this stupid comfort which is telling you that no, because I don't want to. But then it's better the feeling wins at that moment. Because
Yeah.
that will make you fulfilled, that will make you recharged if you listen to that. So in some point you always know what you listen to or what you have to listen to. Because I also have days when now I know myself much better, yeah. So I know when I really have days when I want to withdraw and I don't want anybody around me, and then I do that. I listen to it, and it's really nurturing. And then I also feel when is the time to start opening
Yeah.
up again, opening towards possibilities to go out, to socialize, to do things. And then yeah, you better listen to it, but it
Yeah.
takes time until you kind of master it. But you better listen to and what not, because there are huge differences.
Mm. And some people actually make the mistake of, well, it's not a mistake, it's just they don't see it yet, that they are actually burning themselves out by forcing. That's the other side when they fall onto the other part of that, they are avoiding something. And that's also very often coming from not wanting to stay put. So this is where you need to find the balance. When is it that you need to go out, and when is it that you should be really staying at home, resting, recharging, staying with your emotions, staying with your thoughts that are very, very scary for a lot of people, and they don't feel comfortable in it. And so they are like running away from it. So that's the other half, that's not the way people that is benefiting them. And then they go and then they constantly socialize, and then after they're just so exhausted all the time that it's not going to help them move forward with their own personal life, with whatever they are trying to achieve, because they just don't leave any energy for themselves to make those steps, or even just to recharge so they can see clearer whatever is it that they need to.
Yeah, totally. But that is really something what every individual experiences differently, and that is a side of everything. As black and white exists, there is also a side where you just withdraw instead of going out, or you're burning yourself out going out constantly, even though you would need. I think everything is all about balance.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is all some things you learn if you give yourself the possibility and if you are really on your own.
Mm-hmm. That's the other key point, I think, but we have talked about it, I think, in another topic, where why is it so important to spend time alone, to live alone. So this is also part of that when you are living abroad or even at home, that you need to stay put sometimes and stay alone so people don't affect you the way that is distracting you. Yeah. So what is your... Yeah.
I just wanted to ask one more question, because I just wanted to bring up as a last thing for this topic, which I find important. So, what did you feel the first time after spending a lot of time abroad going home?
First time? Well, I don't really remember. You mean for visiting or like for final? Because I had a time where I almost went home final. Visiting. Yeah.
Because that's a key factor, I think.
I think, well, we moved here in October, and I think somewhere for my dad's birthday in April time, we already went back, because somehow I kind of thought that this is that's gonna be life here, that I'm working and then I go home to visit. So whenever I could, it ended up being 2 times a year for a while tickets were cheap, and I still kind of enjoyed going home so often. So I did that quite regularly until, I don't remember, but then after a while it was just 1 year, and then COVID came, and then I think for two or a whole year or 2 years I didn't go home, something like that. Yeah, so I started it pretty early, but it wasn't really like I'm missing everyone. I was happy to see them and go home. I was excited, but I thought it was just part of this pattern. That yeah.
Mhm. So you wouldn't mention anything like specific then?
Sorry again.
You wouldn't mention anything specific emotions what were coming up because not enough time was
Yeah,
passed.
yeah. I
Because
mean,
for me,
comparing to an ex-friend of mine, she was very anxious and missing her family very soon, so much sooner than me. To me, that was like half a year or something like that. She, I think, already after 3 months was or even sooner, missing her entire family, even though she also enjoyed being here. But yeah, I didn't. But even after later, if it was 2 years or during COVID, I didn't really feel like I'm missing them. I felt like it was like an obligation to go home and okay, now I have to visit the family. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, for
You
me it
don't.
was something different, so I don't know. No. For
Okay.
me, because for a 1 year, I think, or more, I didn't go home after I moved. So it was pretty long time passing.
Yeah.
And when I visited home, first of all, I was so incredibly happy to see everybody. And homesickness hit me so hard. Like I started to idealize my home country, my city so much. I saw everything better. I compared and I seen that, oh, but here it's different and at home it's so. I think many people felt or must have felt the same way that you idealize your country. And I was even warned that is going to happen, and to be careful what kind of decisions I'm making when it comes, because it will come. And I remember I was having a ride on the big ferry wheel, which is in a very famous touristic spot in our city.
Yeah.
And I started to cry when I was at the top and looking down. And this, I felt like, oh my God, this is my home. This is my city, you know? And everything hit me so hard. And I had that period of time coming when I was really missing everything from home.
Oh.
And I felt like that everything is so much better at home. And I needed that time to rationalize and to logically think through that this is not true, just I'm going through something at the moment. So
Interesting.
I jumped through that obstacle too, if we can say it like that. That I didn't move home after feeling like that either, and I stayed.
Interesting. I never experienced that. I never started to idolize Hungary that way. I would enjoy going back like a tourist, enjoying that. Oh, I actually got money that I can spend here, you know, and I can walk around. And I started to appreciate things that I haven't experienced before then when I was living there. But I never really thought, because I still heard from friends and family how difficult things are, and I didn't feel like that would be a solution. I thought I would be downgrading actually. So yeah, interesting. That is how differently people go through this experience.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
So
I
what
was
is it?
curious. No, I just wanted to say that I was curious how you saw it, because I wasn't sure if you went through the same thing or it was completely different from you. And if it's different, then it's nice to see different point of views.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So what do you think that you have learned or earned through these years that you wouldn't have if you didn't move abroad, summarized?
I think that is a possibility. I would never learn who I really am.
I think you answered it all. Yeah, that's
Because
it.
I always had relationships with somebody, and I always adjusted my life to the guy who I've been with. And
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like inside, I always felt this urge that I need to be alone, but at the end, it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I understand how good it is that I have the opportunity that it happened, and I really have the luxury that I can live a comfortable and nice life, and I have everything I need on my
Mm-hmm.
own. So I really
Yes.
can reflect on everything what's important to me. I have time to get to know myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the very, very important part of it, because let's say maybe we would also find the same kind of people back in Hungary as partners, and we would still have those patterns, but we would not definitely have the financial freedom that we managed to gain here and the
Yeah,
living situation. So we would still somehow probably be codependent or reliant on other people, living with
yeah,
parents or with your boyfriend, or struggling financially, which makes it so much harder to see clearly, also see that you can do it much better without them. So you don't have to, have someone's support in that sense, and
yeah,
swallow everything else down the toilet. So yeah, I think that's that's very important. And I didn't even think about it until now.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. And
Yeah.
also, I have to mention that I got really lucky with my career too,
Mhm.
because I have such a nice work-life balance right now. Many people don't have. And I'm so happy I got this opportunity, which lets me live my life.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't think in Hungary I could have done that.
Yeah. I'd like to challenge the word lucky there, because you don't give yourself enough credit. That's not luck. You have built that for yourself.
I didn't even notice I said that. I
You
didn't even
see
notice I
how
said
much
that.
it matters,
Thank
conditioning
you.
and what we grow. It wasn't luck. It's your hard work. That's what you achieved for yourself. And that's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, yeah. You are right.
Yeah. I try, and I think it's important for everyone to try and pay attention how we are talking to ourselves, because this also builds so much more confidence within ourselves. Because luck is something, such a generic word. It's kind of like magical. We have no control over it, where we fail to recognize that we have been working throughout these years so hard to achieve where we are. So this is your blood and sweat and cry and everything.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, we've been through a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Transforming years.
Yeah. I don't think there is any point of mentioning mine, because it's literally what you said. It's the exact same thing. Is finally finding myself and finding being content by that. So I think we did talk about everything.
Yeah, I think so. I think we covered whatever you can cover, basically going. Going abroad and what you're going through, and what kind of mental challenges, because I think we focused mostly on the mental challenges, but that's what's most important
Yeah,
in
I think
our
so.
opinion. So
Yeah.
if you ever had to do that, if you ever had to move to another country, we would really love to hear your experiences in the comments, and what you can identify with, or what you think was different for you. because we want to hear as many opinions as possible about this.
Yeah. And thank you for listening. And please like and share, follow us. And don't forget to switch on the notifications so you will not miss out our next videos. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Bye bye.